Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to the Crochet Corner. A few things are different. Yes, your girl finally went back and got a real haircut, a good one. I'm just gonna act like this pillow was here behind me the whole time. We'll get into that later. But you guys are obviously here for one thing and one thing only, which is my everything that I have crocheted so far this summer. Honestly, I thought my pile would start to, accumulate a little bit more. But in case you guys haven't heard the recent news, I'm moving. We're moving in less than 6 weeks and we don't even have a spot yet. But without further ado, this is the cute pile of everything I've crocheted so far this summer. Honestly, I have a really good mixture between some tops, some bottoms, and even some headwear accessories, which is pretty unusual for me. I think I want to start off with the micro shorts because it's trending right now and it's honestly one of my favorite trends. I don't usually hop on like the trend bandwagon. Usually I'm like too late to the party, but micro shorts has got to be my favorite crochet trend of all time. And here's why. Let me show ya. These give me a lot of confidence. And before you guys even ask, I do have a full tutorial on how to make these shorts right here. Believe it or not, this is the same exact pattern. Obviously, I just use like a little stripe pattern for these shorts and then just a good old-fashioned variegated kind of yarn. I think this is like a printed yarn. So this is the first pair of shorts. This is what I filmed the tutorial on and they are so darling. It's a little bit awkward holding these shorts up because I'm not even wearing them and they have like an automatic built-in camel toe. It's kind of funny, but I promise you guys, when these are on, chef's kiss. They frame the body. It's a little bit more bodycon. But what I'm really proud of with these shorts is the fact that I got to use some more elastic. It's like elastic threading, or almost kind of looks like elastic yarn, but I inserted it into the very top of the waistband because for me the issue is that a lot of the times the clothing will fit me really good in like the hip area, but then in the waist it's like too wide. But in order to combat that little issue of getting your pants to fit you just right is the little tip and trick that I use, which is using that elastic threading. There's like a lot of stretch to the waist portion, so I know that I'm gonna have like enough wiggle room. And I know you guys have been seeing it all over social media, which is why I also have these shorts right here. Now, as I just mentioned, these were both made with the same exact tutorial, the same steps and everything. But the difference is that with these shorts, I used a #1 fingering weight yarn, and with these shorts I used a #3 DK. The yarn that I used to make these shorts is the Ali's Diva stretch yarn. Now it's labeled I think as like a #2 sport, but upon second glance this is definitely a #1 fingering. Like it is super fine. And if you guys couldn't tell, again, I did implement that little bit of a elastic thread in the waistband portion. So all in all, I really love this pattern and this style of design because there's no math that goes into it. Obsessed. I love them. Enough about the shorts. Now, not every crochet idea can be a win, okay? Some of them have to be a flop. And at first glance, she's super cute, but this kind of goes into like the flop category because she's aesthetically pleasing, okay? Very sexy, very skimpy, but to be honest, there's like no functionality in this. After I crocheted this, I tried to do like a little try-on video. The ladies fit inside, but not for long. If you guys are catching my drift, like if I turn too fast, they're gonna fly out. So there's not too much structure, but nonetheless, this is the cute bikini top that I made. Now, again, I did use the Ali's Diva stretch yarn because it is noted to be very good for bikinis. So I decided to order some on Etsy and just kind of like test out how it works up, how the fiber acts. But when it comes to making actual bikinis that you could wear like at the beach, at the pool, in the water, I can guarantee you that if one wave hits me, this bikini top is gonna be 10 miles away. That being said, this is a really cute little top to wear like if I wanted to tan or something because it's just so thin and lightweight. This is pretty much only good for like pictures, so it was a little bit of a letdown. I do love the colors. Like y'all have never really seen me wear stripes like this. So that's item #2. And really quickly, before we continue on with today's video, I do just want to say a huge thank you to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. And if you didn't already know, Craftsy is your online resource for all things creative and artistic, where members can advance their skills and you can quickly find your new favorite hobby. They offer over 2,000 classes in topics such as knitting, crochet, sewing, baking, and so much more. One of the classes I'm currently interested in is How to Crochet the Garland Top by Brenda KB Anderson. Now this top looks perfect for the summer, especially with the little bit of like lacy, gorgeous detailing up at the neckline. Not only do they provide step-by-step video instructions, but as a member you can also get access to downloadable PDF resources that you can honestly just print out and take with you on the go. So even if you're not on your computer, you still have access to resources, which is key, especially in this moment when I'm about to be traveling and I can't really be on my computer too much. And of course, I have a special little offer for you all. The first 1,000 people to click the link down below in the description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. If you're already a member to Craftsy, please feel free to leave me a comment down below telling me which classes are at the top of your to-do list. And a huge thank you again to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video and supporting my channel. We are gonna move on to another favorite, but this is the V-neck Raglan tee. Now, as the name suggests, we are using that standard kind of Raglan pattern method, but the shining, show-stopping moment of this top, it has to be the yarn. It has to be said. I did use the Noro Yarns Subame line, I believe. I think it's labeled as a number 4 medium weight, but because this is more of a roving style, it is a single ply as well. It kind of shifts between some sections that are a little bit like sport weight DK and then other sections that are a lot thicker, so like a number 4. Yeah, here's a little close-up of the top. Again, we do have that open V-neck center, and then we got the gorgeous little cap sleeves, okay? Now, as you can see, I did go in with a very basic chain. I think I meant to I-cord it, I chained it instead. And then I just strung it up back and forth along the center. So honestly, I just found like little points along the V-neck opening and weaved it through. I do want to note though that I think this top would also look really cute without the little bit of a lace up at the front. Like honestly, I could just tear this out and wear it as a standard V-neck top. But you know, I thought I would throw it in there because it's an option. It's another way to kind of style the top. Not too much to say about her, okay? It's another Raglan creation. I hope that you guys aren't sick of seeing these yet. This is the backside. Yep, there's a little tail just hanging out. These colors shift so gorgeously. And I also used less than 1 ball of yarn, 1 cake of yarn to make this top. Now obviously I did make this as part of my summer wardrobe, but I think this would be a really great tutorial to follow as more of like a transitional piece for like the fall and the winter months. Of course, this is super cropped, but if you guys are looking for an item to make for when it starts to get a little bit colder, a little bit chillier, you can follow this same exact pattern, but then just add on long sleeves or even extend the top. Item number 3 for summer, for the summer wardrobe. Let's move on to some smaller items. The crochet skull caps. If you guys have been keeping up with my channel, then you know I've also had a slight obsession with the little mesh skull caps. So this is what the first one looks like. Very, very basic, okay? Think Crochet Beanie, but without all the thickness and all of the warmth. It's honestly very, very simple. So again, I can't believe it. I have a lot of tutorials for these summer items. So I started off here at the very center. This is worked top down. So as long as you guys know how to make a magic circle, you will be able to make a little cap like this. And ultimately we kind of get a little fishnet meshy style cap. This is also named the meshy cap because she is meshy. So if I can remember correctly, I will leave it here on screen, but the Hobie cotton silk yarn is like 70-something% cotton and 20-something% silk. So it has a really nice amount of breathability. Now the other one I made using the same exact technique. The only difference is that I sized my hook down. So to make this green one, I'm pretty sure with this one I used a 5.0 millimeter because this is a number 3 DK. But with this one, I think I used like a 4 millimeter or a 3.5. Like I really went down my hook size because I wanted to see just how tight I could make these stitches. Now I've gotten a few comments. Somebody said that it kind of reminds them of the lunch lady cap. Like, you're not wrong. It definitely gives lunch lady vibes. So there's that. If you guys have been looking for lunch lady aesthetics, look no further than the meshy cap. Now we only have a few last minute items that I'm going to showcase, so let's move on to some more clothing items again. This next item is a really special piece. Now I know she also looks incredibly simple, but at this point we kind of know that simple is my style. So there's a few things I wanted to talk about with this top. First things first, yes, I also have a tutorial for this top, so I will link that here somewhere. This is what I like to call my linen top because, as we all know, I do dye my own hand-dyed yarn and then sell them on my shop. But for once, I wanted to expand the bases that I carry in my shop, so I picked up a 90% superwash and 10% linen blend. And we use the linen blend to make this very simple kind of square boxy crop top. Now this is also dyed with a new colorway. I just recently named this Space Cowboy because I mean, she's giving outer space. I used a really fancy like little shell stitch. I mean, I call it fancy because it looks intricate, but in all honesty, it is actually a 1-row repeat pattern. But this is the Boxy tee. I decided to make it a little bit more sheer. With this design, it's just 2 rectangles that I sewed together at the upper shoulder section right there. And then just a little bit, like literally just a few inches underneath the armpit so that it's actually connected like a shirt instead of like a capelet or a poncho. Yeah, I love her. Another project that I didn't weave all the ends in, but this is kind of the one that I'm gonna let it slide because it almost looks like it's meant to have the ends hanging off. Another project for the books. Let's quickly shift over into the unisex tank that we made. Now, you've seen this in a ton of my recent videos, but I never actually got to show it off in a finished project video because in the last video, it was still being pattern tested. So I can finally showcase it here as a finished project. If you couldn't tell, this is another Noro yarn. I believe this is the Noro Cake in Yukata. Now, the Yukata line holds a really special place in my heart just because, one, the colorway. Do we see the mixture of colors? Like, a palette could not get more perfected and refined more so than this one. Like, if I had to pick a favorite colorway from any brand, any line of yarn ever, it's gonna be this colorway from the Yukata from Noro. If I can kind of like open up this tank a little bit, I do want you guys to notice that with the hook size that I used and the fiber that I used, it is ever so slightly sheer, like ever so slightly. If I wear a bralette, you can just barely like make out the shape of my chest in this. So I personally love the fact that it has just that little touch of a sheerness. Like, it's not so opaque that it's dense. And if you guys haven't already seen the tutorial's out. It's free, of course, but now I finally have a written pattern to accommodate the tutorial as well. I don't get to put out too many tutorials that are unisex, but when I have the chance or I have like the inspiration to, I love unisex pieces because taking a basic design like this one, there are so many ways that you can kind of change up the design, the shape, or again, the drape of the item to make it more feminine or make it a little bit more masculine, or like me, keep it in the middle, keep it unisex. Now, I did make this tank initially for Jordan, so rightfully so, we had to name it after its namesake. This is the Jordan tank. Jordan actually wanted something that was a little bit more cropped, so on him, this hits like right at the very top of his hips. But of course, when I wear this thing, okay, she's full length. It covers everything that it needs to. It's a little bit oversized, like just a little bit. So I love that this translates really well, not only onto my body size and my shape, but also onto Jordan's. I also want to make another tank using some leftover yarn, but I want to make it cropped. So I want to follow the exact same steps and everything. The only difference is that it's not going to be as long. I'm probably going to start it like right here. I thought a little baby fitted like feminine tank would also be really cute with this pattern. You do get this really interesting, slightly textured stitch, which I cannot get enough of. Like, I think this style of design, like the stitch work, is so flattering. So yeah, just a quick little shout out for her because I know that I've kind of like shown this in several videos, but I needed to run it back one more time because I'm obsessed with her. As if I didn't scoop this into the video earlier, this is my Not Your Granny's Pillow pattern. Now, I didn't get to show too much of this because I was working on this pattern in conjunction with Hobie a few months back. I wanted to put together a very basic beginner-friendly pattern for some home decor, because a lot of times I can get caught up with like the fashion, the shirts, the skirts, the hats. Essentially, this is a solid granny square, and then I just kept on adding row after row after row. Kind of changed up the colors on both sides so that depending on my mood, I can kind of like flip it around. I used a pillow insert as well. I picked it up from Joann's. 2 large granny squares, stuffed the insert in there, and then single crochet the edges all the way shut. Well, anyways, this is the Not Your Granny's pillow pattern. Not only is it being listed and sold and available over on Hobie's pattern website area, but I also have it up on my shop. Yeah, I think just my shop. I don't think I ever added it to Ribbler or Ravelry, but if you guys are interested in a very, very quick, like 1-day project, this is probably gonna be your go-to. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna go ahead and wrap up the little bit of things that I made so far this summer. I've got a ton more content coming your way. I've got moving vlogs, hectic vlogs, productive stuff, more tutorials. We're gonna go ahead, wrap it up, eat some lunch. See you guys in the next one. Bye.